Marvel fans, let's talk about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and the conflicting reports when it comes to leaks and rumors. Is Wanda going to be the big bad of the movie?
What?
Or will it instead be Shuma Gorath? What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerd Adventures Tower. Smash a like on this video if you are excited for Multiverse of Madness.
So excited!
And man, as for me, definitely my most anticipated movie of next year, and I think it's going to double down on the fun we had in Spider-Man No Way Home. That's a lot of fun. Now, to sort of bring you up to speed and sort of frame this video, it is worth mentioning that there have been a lot of confusing rumors and reports around the Multiverse of Madness. We've been following the rumor mill on this movie for over a year now, ever since Scott Derrickson walked away from the project, Michael Waldron and Sam Raimi were brought on board. We have been following all of the little things that have been coming out. And there were already conflicting reports and some confusion about aspects of the movie then, but after that, Marvel went and did 6 weeks of extensive reshoots and likely changed a lot when it comes to the film. And in this video, we want to discuss one of the main things that may or may not have been changed several different times behind the scenes, and we're not really sure how it's going to play out in the actual film, and that is all about the main antagonist for the movie. So let's talk Shuma Gorath, okay? This article here on the Illuminati, which was posted May 18th of 2021, is, to my knowledge, the very first time that it was explained that Shuma Gorath was going to be the main villain of Multiverse of Madness. And it says down here in the article, last week, insider Daniel Rickman shared on his Patreon account that Marvel Studios is planning on using Doctor Strange villain Shuma Gorath for an unspecified future Marvel project. That initial report led us on a fact-finding mission to uncover how the cosmic supervillain is intended to fit into the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Fans of the Marvel Comics character can exhale because he will appear in live action even sooner than you might be expecting. And they say here we can now confirm that Shuma Gorath is going to be the primary antagonist in 2022's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, they go on to talk about America Chavez, how she is connected to this because Shuma wants the power of America Chavez to be able to travel wherever he wants throughout the multiverse. And this was a big deal when it happened. I mean, Shuma Gorath, massive Marvel character, very, very powerful, an exciting thing to be bringing in, and it would make sense that Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch would be teaming up, helping America Chavez and fighting against Shuma. But it was a little while after that the narrative started to change. Daniel Rickman shared that Scarlet Witch will be chasing America Chavez throughout the multiverse in Doctor Strange 2 to acquire her power to retrieve her children, with Doctor Strange stepping in to protect America. This was something that was going on a little bit after the initial report by Illuminati that Shuma Gorath was going to be the main villain. And so from here, we saw many other scoopers and insiders corroborating what Daniel was reporting, and that was that Shuma Gorath will not be the main villain of the movie. It's actually going to be Wanda. And then more and more stuff started coming out, making it seem as though Wanda would be the villain of the movie, and that started to make a lot of sense to people. Then there was a report that you were going to see Gargantos in the movie, who is not a crazy elder eldritch god like Shuma Gorath, but does look similar to Shuma Gorath as a big squid type monster. So lesser known character that is connected to the Namor character. So then I recall people like Nick Santos from the Hashtag Show coming out and saying they didn't even think Shuma was going to be in the movie, and that Shuma was complete misdirection. Instead, that squid monster is going to end up being Gargantos and is just some creature that is summoned by Wanda. I remember my girlfriend and I even argued about this. I was like, no, I strongly feel like Shuma's in the movie. Maybe Gargantos and Shuma are in the movie. She agreed with people like Nick and thought, well, maybe it's just sort of wires getting crossed and people were seeing the squid monster thinking that was Shuma, but it's actually Gargantos.
She was right, of course, but it still hurt.
There was also a Lego leak for Multiverse of Madness which showed Gargantos, and it was after I saw the newest trailer, the first teaser trailer for Multiverse of Madness, that I thought, oh, that is likely just Gargantos. That's why it was in the Lego leak. People likely did get confused and report that as being Shuma. This kind of wires getting crossed or, scoopers getting confused, this happens all the time. It actually recently happened with the Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin character. If you will recall, many scoopers started to say that you were going to see a massive version of Kingpin and that they put D'Onofrio in a fat suit in order to make him bigger, more like his comic book counterpart.
You are wrong! All of you are wrong!
When in fact, a version of that ended up being true. What actually happened is D'Onofrio has lost so much weight that they had to put him in a fat suit and use some CGI to make him even look like the Kingpin from the Netflix show. And so what you ended up having was all these reports that confused the fat suit aspect of that character and thought he was going to be massive and be a lot like the MCU, or rather the comic book version of that character. But instead, the character was in a fat suit just to look more like the character he had played before. And even though maybe he's a little bit bigger than the version we got in the Netflix show, he's not massive. Basically, scoopers and insiders can get stuff wrong. And even My Time to Shine Hello, who is nailing a lot of scoops lately, actually got some stuff wrong for the Spider-Man movie. She reported that Andrew Garfield was going to say, so this stuff is just coming out of you on the sequence in the Statue of Liberty when they're all fighting. And that didn't end up happening in the movie. That scene happens earlier, and it happens in a different way when they're all experimenting on cures for the villains.
That came out of you.
But I think what happened there was they did shoot multiple versions of that conversation going down and just chose a different one for the final cut of the film. My Time to Shine Hello also said there was going to be a dialogue piece where the two Spider-Men say to Peter, "You're not alone, Peter, you have us," which again may or may not have been shot and accurate at one time, but it did get cut.
Cut?
Why you cut, Sandy? This is great. This is real acting.
So I say all of that to tell you, people can be wrong, even reliable people can be wrong. I feel like this has been a really mixed back and forth story when it comes to Shuma, when it comes to Wanda, when it comes to Gargantos, like what is going on here. But some more recent plot leaks, which we don't know if they're real, but recent plot leaks have actually made sense of this. And these different plot leaks are supposedly from the new version of the movie, which happened after these massive reshoots. So the story that's kind of coming out now in the most recent leaks is that Shuma Gorath will be a big part of the film and is using the Darkhold to corrupt Wanda. The character of Gargantos is known as a lesser version of Shuma. Perhaps it'll just be called a mini Shuma or something like that in the film. But essentially, Wanda is able to summon a lesser version of Shuma Gorath, but Shuma Gorath is still in control, playing with Wanda.
That's what she said?
Corrupting her via the Darkhold, and will ultimately be the big bad of the movie. In fact, some of the new leaks describe an ending where Wanda turns to help everyone defeat Shuma Gorath, possibly even sacrificing herself to do it. So the big idea here is they may have changed things in the reshoots to create a new version of the ending where Shuma Gorath is more of a big bad than Wanda, will end up being known as the thing that corrupted and is controlling her, and Wanda will ultimately snap out of it and help the heroes defeat Shuma Gorath. And there's a couple of reasons why I'm starting to lean in this direction. Again, we really don't know at this point, which is honestly kind of fun, right? But here's my speculation. I do believe that something to do with Shuma Gorath has been being teased throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Even in What If, you see some kind of monster in several different episodes. It's the monster that Hydra tries to summon in. It's the monster that Doctor Strange just gets a little bit of its power. And I also think the fact that Shuma Gorath is connected to the Dweller in Darkness in Marvel Comics implies that there could even be some of that setup happening in Shang-Chi. So I do believe the Darkhold will end up being connected to some evil thing, whether it's, Mephisto, which would blow everybody away, or more likely Shuma Gorath. That feels right to me. That feels like something that they've been wanting to set up. And I also wouldn't be surprised if Disney downplayed the evil arc that they originally had for Wanda. Like maybe it was actually debated as they were creating the movie. Should Wanda go full dark side? Should Wanda be the villain? And should Strange actually have to defeat Wanda, or do we want to turn her back to the good side at the very end of the movie? Like, I could see a scenario in which they tried different versions of that. And in a sense, if they do have Wanda flip back and help to defeat Shuma Gorath, it would allow them to go super dark with her at certain parts of the film and yet kind of redeem her, like as an out at the end. But the only reason that I kind of doubt that, or one of the reasons that I go back to Wanda just being the big bad, is it's weird how the initial reports were out there about Shuma being the big villain, and it did appear, as we uncovered more and more about the movie, that that was misdirection, that that was something they wanted out there, while actually having Wanda be the one that was being evil.
It's probably just a case of the Mondays.
Now, either way, the Darkhold is going to be a big part of this. The Darkhold is going to be corrupting her, but it's just that question of whether or not it's actually going to be Shuma Gorath and whether or not Wanda will turn back to the light and help our heroes defeat Shuma. Now, there's one other thing I want to talk about here with regards to Shuma being in the movie, and that is the fact that the original plot leaks, there's really no mention of the Clea character, and it does appear that in the reshoots, Clea was added and that there's actually going to be a variant of Palmer, of Dr. Palmer, that will be Clea in the movie. And just because that stuff is in a lot of the newer leaks that talks about Shuma being the big bad and not in the old leaks that talk about Wanda being the big bad, again, I'm starting to lean in the direction of Clea. This art right here was leaked a long time ago. I don't know if you guys remember this, but this is concept art that is given out to companies to create teas and merchandise, etc., etc. This art has been proven to be correct for Yelena, for Hawkeye, and for Kate Bishop. And we've seen these designs from the movie as well, especially this Mordu here, right? Well, what is this character over here? I think it's obvious that it is the Clea character, which means that Clea has been a part of Marvel's plans for a long, long time. I mean, either way, this movie sounds absolutely crazy, but this core question of whether or not it will be fully Wanda that's going dark side and that she's totally responsible for her actions and she's going to defeat everybody, or whether she's going to go down that path and eventually break free of that to help defeat the real enemy of Shuma Gorath, yeah, that's the big question. That's what this video is about. So I wanted to share all this evidence with you and explain kind of where I'm at, but I definitely want to know where you're at. So what do you think? Is it going to be Shuma, or is it going to be Wanda? Who's the big bad of this movie? Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to this channel to see more of our content. Pop up in your recommended feed. Check us out on TikTok. Check out the podcast on Spotify. And go check out the live streaming channel where we have a ton of fun talking about these things live with all of our community. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.